Hey, can you come over this weekend and move a couch for me?
No.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
That's what I'm talking about. All right.
Thank
I'm
you.
busy.
So as I said, we're here at Miller's, as we are every Wednesday at 5 o'clock and 7 o'clock for the Owl Show. But here, and we thank Miller's going into our third year here, and this is fantastic.
Third season.
And we have broken a streak today, Robert.
Season 3, episode 3 is a streak breaker.
Yeah. No memes.
That's because you are shoveling down sugar, my friend.
I'm shoveling down sugar today, baby. Captain Jack's fantasy breakfast or dinner or Sunday or something. I can't wait.
Hey, Billy Joel said Captain Jack could get you high tonight. So,
There you go.
can't wait to see how that works out for you.
So
Well, Michael Jackson said Billie Jean's not my lover, but
She's just a girl who's might be pregnant. I actually went with...
But the kid is not my son.
But the kid... I went with a shrimp thing that is made like wings. I don't know what it'll taste
Yeah,
like.
Sean talked you into that, didn't he?
He did talk me into it. So, it's real easy to talk a guy into food he's not actually paying for, though.
All right. Lichtenstein, Larry, what did you go with tonight?
I went with the chicken fajitas tonight.
Chicken fajitas.
Can't go wrong with the chicken fajitas.
And I'm sure Mr. Crooks went with his burger.
yeah.
There you go.
I gotta get the protein so I can get big and strong. I gotta bulk up.
You need a lot of protein.
And just for the record, do you know where meat gets its protein from?
Eating things that are not meat.
That is correct.
Exactly.
Meat has no protein until it starts eating,
Grass
leaves
and stuff
grass
like that,
and
yeah.
stuff like that.
All right.
Probably, I meant to say grass, not leaves. I just kind
Hey,
of float
cool,
out
yeah.
that way.
Cows don't eat leaves.
All right. Well, let's get in our first commercial so we can get into the show.
Making preparations for when you're not around anymore is not easy. Nobody likes to think about their own mortality, and we can talk about it next week doesn't always fit into the big picture schedule. And that's why you should contact our friend Ron Smith at Senior Life Insurance. Whether you're being buried or cremated, costs keep going up, but you can lock in a price today to take that final expense off your to-do list. Do your loved ones a favor and take care of your final expense so that when your time does come knocking, they won't have to worry about it. If you're age 1 to 85, they have a plan ready for you. So please contact Ron and his team tomorrow at 440-561-0758.
Hey, I'm in that age bracket, 1 to 85.
Barely.
Yeah, barely. For a few more years. Not too many, but a few. All right. Bring in our guest for today, Blake Dixon from Bojangles. Come on in, Blake.
Hey, Chuck, how you doing? It's good
How
to
are
be
you?
here.
Good to
Good
be
being
here. Blake texted me. He told me he's not the greatest. He doesn't know a lot about football, but he's going to share with us what he can.
There you go.
Yes, sir.
That's all you can do, right? All right.
Do the best I can.
There you go. So let's talk a little bit about the Georgia Tech FSU game this weekend. Did you watch it at all?
I did not.
Okay. Well, you're going to learn a lot today because we're going to help you along. I think I was the only one that took Tech plus the points last week.
Yeah, I
You
think
were.
so.
You were.
Yeah, but we all did say, well, I know Robert said that they do have a chance. Well, but what did you learn from this game, Robert?
I have a thing, this is not the takeaway I have for this game, but it's the one I'm going to use right off the bat. Sometimes in games where a team is favored, when the game starts and you just start opening up that can of whoop, you're like, wham, wham, bam, 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 and you go straight down the field, score a touchdown, trick play for 2 points, it's 8-0, get over yourself. And then it just falls off the cliff from that point. So, sometimes I don't know if you can base everything on you see that FSU's overrated, Tech's a little better than we think, or sometimes people think they get this image in their head of, this isn't going to be good, this is going to be this. And then once that first 4 minutes went away and everybody had on the FSU sidelines, yeah, that's what I told you. I told you we were going to be good. And it was over. It really was, because, man, we went body blow, body blow,
It was
body
all
blow.
those fans that just screamed at Herb Street for 3 hours before the game, talking about FSU should have been in the playoffs. They're still over that, and they proved after 63-3 debacle against Georgia, which really wasn't a game because they were playing their third and fourth strings or whatever.
Which was why they weren't invited to the Final Four, because all they had was third and fourth strings.
Exactly.
Point that out.
But it was interesting. That Tech came right back down and scored because I was a little dejected after the first drive.
Sure. Not to mention the 2-point conversion. When you start,
weird.
it's like good God, I
Was
don't
it
even
called the
it's
swinging
like,
gate?
Yeah,
So,
Yes.
I don't even start at 7-0.
I love the swinging gate. The
I love
swinging gate is a fantastic play.
It is, but you just hardly ever see it. A lot of teams
Yeah.
Line
yeah.
up and
line up,
for
and then
it constantly.
they go back to the field goal mesh. I think as Robert talked about, Florida State lost a lot of guys last year. They lost Jordan Travis, they lost Keon Coleman, they lost guys on the D line, they lost
Jared
linebackers.
Verse.
Yes, I think this is a case of Florida State was really good last year, so they're going to be good again this year, and I think they're a good team in the ACC. I think they're probably 5th or 6th in the ACC. I think they're a little bit overrated.
Teams above them.
I don't.
They are now.
They are now, but
are they
I
in
think
his story?
no. I think Georgia Tech is kind of middle of the pack. I think a lot of it is hangover from the Orange Bowl for Florida State, and the fact that Florida State is not nearly as good as people thought they would be. I think that Georgia Tech is good, but I don't think they're great.
Maybe them Florida State teams just don't like playing people from Georgia.
Yeah,
Maybe.
that could be.
Maybe.
Because that was a Georgia twofer.
We know Phil Steele said in his preseason book that Georgia Tech had the number 10 offensive line in the country. So all this talk that they did on the pregame show about Florida State having the best defensive line in the country, and then Tech just manhandled them on both sides of the line of scrimmage.
Yes.
But that offensive line, the way they wanted to run the ball and the way they did run the ball, just, on plays where you're like, you're going to have to do a play action on this one because surely you can't call the same freaking play again. And they did. They just kept going back to the well and pounding it right up the middle, and they looked really good.
But I think we saw Haynes King is a good quarterback. He's not an elite quarterback.
No. He's not going to get any Heisman talk or anything else, but he doesn't need it as long as
This is
we're
true.
running the ball the way he does.
But I think it would take elite quarterback play to overcome a Clemson or a Miami.
Well, we just need Mario Cristobal to be on the field when we play Miami
Yes.
because he's going to give us the game.
Yes.
He's not a very good coach.
No, but, it's kind of funny because it was a very clean football game. There weren't that many penalties. Very, very few. I think Tech had one, and they had one muff fumble. Actually, they had 2 fumbles, but they got them both back. And all Florida State did was the first drive and the 2 fourth down conversions on the last drive. Other than that, Tech handled them.
And you're absolutely right with those 2 fourth down conversions. Unbelievably, I don't want to call them lucky, but you weren't able to do anything in quarters 2, 3 in the first half of the fourth quarter, and then all of a sudden, it's fourth and 12, and your season's on the line, and they got it, and then they got it again. I was like, oh, this is.
I was a little upset with
Sure.
with the PI call. I didn't think that was a pass interference play. I mean, Tech won anyway, but I thought. And they looked like they were both going down the field, and the ball was 5 yards wide of where it was supposed to be. Couldn't have caught it. I understand why they called it, but I didn't see it. Very impressed. But you know what I got more out of this game than anything, Robert? It was just what we've been saying all along, that preseason polls mean nothing. That's what I got out of this game because Florida State's not the number 10 team in the country.
No.
Not if that's the team that played.
Well, but you don't know that if Georgia Tech's the number 8 team in the country.
Georgia
Yeah.
Tech's not the number 8 team.
Hey, I wasn't
They're not.
asking you.
But,
They're not.
But they played better than what I anticipated them playing. What's their new defensive coach name? Carducci?
Yeah.
Santucci.
Santucci, yeah. Played-
Carducci, Santucci,
He's
Stanley Tucci.
As
I always liked
as
that
my
guy. Good
Uncle Joe
actor.
used to say, he's a Dago. So,
Hey.
Man, it's just like fantasy football. It's always full of surprises.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. As soon as you think you're going to know something, and always keep in mind, when you travel to another country to play a game, this isn't like going to Wake Forest. Florida State might boat race the rest of their schedule because, man, they know all those cities in, out, backwards, and every which way. So, it's the only thing we could do out of that game was come home 1-0. We did. So we start trying to build on it from here.
And so where does Florida State go from here?
Lord have mercy.
They, last year they'd be saying Florida State's out. They're done. They got a shot because of the 12-team playoff.
When you go into a really good math or chemistry college class and they have the chalkboard where they flip the chalkboard around, it's got that's what Florida State's doing. They're flipping the chalkboard around. They're going with a blank slate, and they're going to have to refigure out who they are, which isn't going to be tough because they do not have a tough schedule.
They have a pretty tough schedule. Miami, everybody out here says Miami's going to be better. They got Diaz, is that his name?
They got Cam Ward.
Cam Ward is a quarterback now. Of course, Tyler Van Dyke, they said he was the answer last year, and he wasn't. And he went somewhere
Tyler
else.
Van Dyke is never the answer. He went to Wisconsin.
And that's something I'm glad you brought up. DJ has never been the answer. He wasn't the answer at Clemson. He wasn't the answer at Oregon State, and he's not the answer at Florida State.
And he should look better than he is. It's one thing to say, well, he wasn't ready following in Watson's footsteps after winning natties and this, that, and that. You've now been in a couple conferences, your second visit back to this conference. You should look a little more poised, and he just doesn't seem to have that.
They didn't complete anything downfield.
No.
Nothing.
No, they couldn't get anything going. And
Other
DJ,
than the 4th and 9 when they went down to the 1 or whatever it was.
yeah, he's serviceable, but he's a system guy. You need a system around him. But speaking of the transfer portal, I don't know if you guys saw today, but Jeff Brom had a press conference at Louisville. He announced that Amari Huggins-Bruce would re-enroll at Louisville after he was at Louisville last year, was a 1,000-yard receiver, went to South Carolina for the spring and the fall, left South Carolina last week, and is now back at Louisville this week.
So he never made it to the fall? He was only with them during the spring.
Through the beginning, through
Summer
July.
workouts.
Yeah, through July and August camp.
And
So does he have to sit out?
No.
I read today that they're going to eliminate spring transfers.
Yeah.
Yeah, which I think is a good thing.
They got to
They got to control it,
rein it in a little bit.
rein it in. Exactly.
But you shouldn't be able to go to a school
you should
and then
not-
come back the
Somebody
week
else did that.
before.
Somebody else did that to Alabama too. I don't remember who
Not
it
to
was.
mention the fact that the guy never played a game. I can look the other way if you transferred and you played and then something happened. Blah blah blah. This is a guy who basically he transferred for the spring game.
Yeah.
and summer workouts.
He realized he wasn't going to be a top 5 receiver at South Carolina, so he went back to Louisville.
Which is not a good sign for his the trajectory of his career. If you were the man in Louisville and you went to South Carolina and you figured out that you weren't any better than the 6th best wide receiver they had, yeah, you probably need to study really hard.
Yeah.
But Florida State has Notre Dame. I think they go to Notre Dame. They're at Miami. They got 2 or 3 other games that they could lose. Robert's yanking up their schedule. Is that what you're doing?
Yep. But, I mean, yeah, they could. I got to do some other stuff to do it.
Okay.
But once again, it doesn't take a lot to make this final. How many 3-loss teams will be in the final 12? 3-loss.
Maybe 1 or 2.
Okay. Tell me this. I asked you the same question. If 4 SEC teams and 4 Big Ten teams make the final, that only leaves 3 for ACC and Big 12. And my question a couple months for you was, what do those 2 conferences have to do for you to get that second bid? Boy, how's the ACC doing so far?
They're 1-0 so far.
Yeah, but not for that second spot. Not for that second spot. That is not looking
we'll see
good.
how that comes on Saturday. So, yeah. And who's the other one? Oh, and you look at Tech's schedule. Tech could be 6-0, 7-0 at the beginning of the season. Their schedule's fairly weak until they get halfway into it.
I think Louisville's going to be a tough game. Louisville's the 5th game of the season, and I think Syracuse is going to be a tough game with Kyle McCord. Obviously, Kyle wasn't great at Ohio State last year, but But I think
What is
when
not
you
great at Ohio State, undefeated
well,
to the big rivalry.
that's
game,
kind of my point.
and then
I've
snubbed on the next level.
I've talked to Ohio State fans about this. It's they had C.J. Stroud, they had Justin Fields, they had Dwayne Haskins, they had they had their last 5 quarterbacks were elite NFL level quarterbacks, and Kyle McCord lost 1 game. He's not elite by Ohio State standards, but he's still better than most other quarterbacks.
Would you take DJU or you take Kyle McCord?
Kyle McCord.
Okay.
And just to throw it in anybody's face who's talking, how many times did Joe Burrow win or lose that game?
0 because he didn't play.
He never played it. So, this guy, he wasn't them. Yeah, you weren't even good enough to make it there. So, it's all blah, blah, blah. I'm looking at the FSU schedule right now. Yeah, man, I don't know. Looks like a lot of wins to me.
They got Boston College next on September 2nd.
That's the Monday. That's the only game Monday night.
On Labor Night,
BC.
Labor Day.
Then Memphis.
Memphis could be the one not Power 5, but Group of 5.
Group of 5.
They could be the Group of 5 team that goes.
Cal, SMU. Then you got the gauntlet known as Clemson, Duke, Miami, Carolina, Notre Dame.
Yeah.
I don't know that.
Well, like we said, it's one game, and we'll find out a little bit more as we get into this for a few weeks. Is FSU in the playoffs?
Not right now.
I vote no.
They've got a lot to do to take one of those spots because once again, when you're where they are, you figure that conference is only getting for sure
best 2.
At best 2, but definitely 1. What are you going to have to do to prove that you're the second best and I should overlook anything that I saw in that first week and not go with this team, or this team?
Well, the better Tech plays, the better it'll help FSU.
Well, and all Tech is looking for is FSU to open up a can of whoop ass.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Georgia
And
Tech
like I
wants,
said last week, this was the best time to catch FSU.
Yes.
No, absolutely. But then, at the end of the day, like I said, if FSU rattles off 8 in a row, look at.
Okay, I wanted to talk more about the 12-game playoff, but we're a little behind. So let's give our brains a rest and learn more about Brain Train.
Hey, it's Melissa at Brain Train Centers, the fastest growing neurofeedback provider in the world, and I have some pretty important questions for you. Do you or someone you know struggle with focus and attention, sleep, memory, or other mood issues? Or maybe you just want to achieve more in high-pressure situations. Well, what if I told you you can unlock your brain's full potential and change your life entirely through neurofeedback, a drug-free and natural approach to negative moods, and it's backed by more than 50 years of research, so it's not new. It is safe for both children and adults as you retrain the brain to create new pathways. Medication may help short-term, but they don't address the underlying issues. Just as push-ups help your physical strength, neurofeedback is personal training for your brain. With over 20 offices nationwide, don't hesitate to reach out to Brain Train Centers, as we will provide you with the highest level of compassionate care and help you achieve the mental clarity, performance, and calm you deserve. Your journey to a better quality of life starts with a brain map. Now you can retrain your brain and reset your life. So just call or text 470-291-2778 or visit BrainTrainCentersInc.com.
All right, and thank you, Meg and Melissa, for being sponsors of the Three Guys Who Love Sports.
Spurts. We like spurts.
We like spurts here at we like spirits here at Miller's Hell House. Sports too. So we're moving along. We got two divisions left. Is that right?
That is correct.
2 divisions left. We got the NFC West, and next week we'll tackle the NFC South and talk about our Falcons. Well, right now we're heading out west, and we're going to first talk about the Arizona Cardinals.
We should listen to what the artist formerly known as ATI has to say, because he's really certain there's only one team in this division.
There's definitely 4 teams in this division. There's
Okay.
only one good team in this division.
No, that's where I differ. Go ahead and tell us about this one.
The 49ers are fantastic. Brandon Ayuk,
You
Brock
said good.
Purdy.
We're
You
talking
said-
about the Arizona Cardinals right now.
You said good.
Why would we? Yes.
Because we're going in alphabetical order.
Okay. the Cardinals. They got Kyler Murray. They got Zach Ertz. They got somebody at running back. Probably not going to be any good. They've got an okay defense.
They don't have Zach Ertz. They don't have anything that you're talking about. So clearly,
Zach Ertz is gone.
You're living in a different year and a different thing.
They have Kyler Murray.
You
got the quarterback right. You should get a cookie on that one.
They definitely have Zach Ertz.
They definitely don't.
They had McLean last year. Was there? Or McBride
Was
their tight end
he's
last
got
year.
the highest floor of any fantasy tight end this year.
He does.
But they also have Harrison, and so when you know they want to throw the ball 4 bazillion times, this is an exciting team. I think, and I don't know what the all-time record is. I'd have Adam look it up if he wasn't trying to look up who plays on this team. How many, the most targets ever for a rookie? I think it's this year.
Harrison?
I think it's these two guys, and I think he's going to pop out 157 targets. Something.
Well, I
stupid.
like that because he's on my fantasy team.
That's a great thing. That's a great thing.
It is Anquan Bolden, 165 for the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay.
Wow.
Puka Nacua is second.
And where does
That
Zach
I
Ertz
believe.
play?
That's a good question. I wasn't looking at Zach Ertz.
Puka Nacua last year. That makes sense.
He plays for Washington now.
Yep. So I'm with Robert. I think Arizona is going to be an up-and-coming team. They're going to be better than what they were last year. Murray was hurt. He didn't play in, 12 of their 17 games?
Yep, first 12.
So as long as he's better, I think they'll be a much-improved team. Let's move on to the Rams. Did you have anything to say about the Cardinals?
Oh, I was just gonna say. I feel like in the past 2 years at least, we've seen a shift, and I feel like for the most amount of time, if I'm not mistaken, like I said, I don't know a lot of football, but it was mostly the Patriots in the Super Bowl. Now, last year we saw San Francisco, the 49ers, and Kansas City Chiefs. The year before that, again, the Kansas City Chiefs. Who did they play against? I can't remember.
San Francisco.
2 years in a row?
No, they played the Eagles.
Yeah, it was the Eagles.
the year
Yeah,
before,
that's what
yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
Eagles. So we're seeing a shift.
A little bit of a shift.
And-
I hope
yeah.
so. I hope so. But
I was tired. I always hate seeing the same old teams play each other. It just gets boring.
Yep. L.A. Rams, how are they going to replace Aaron Donald? How many players will it take to replace Aaron Donald?
You don't replace him. I mean, you hired the next few guys and you start designing your defense differently. Because when you had him, you're able to stick him there and go, okay, let's do this and this. Now all of a sudden you're like, okay, stealing a safety, bring him on down into the box.
And they did get Verse. He was their first-round pick from Florida State, right? The defensive end,
Yes, and they have Kyron Williams returning punts.
who is hurt right now. He's got a soft tissue injury. And Blake Corum is also a Los Angeles Ram. So they may be okay. I'm a fan of McVay. I think he's fine. I don't think Stafford's a superior quarterback. He's a serviceable quarterback.
He is, but the one thing that Stafford does, kind of similar to Butch and Brady, is he throws the ball a lot. And, he's got a rubber band for a shoulder and everything else. And that's really what this team needs because, both Nacua and Kupp are both looking for 150 targets each, which because there's not a lot of other people, if Kyron Williams can run the ball, then maybe there's an opportunity for all those catches.
Yeah. Now up in San Francisco, they got Brock Purdy back. He was the 6th best fantasy quarterback last year. I don't think that I realized that, but that's pretty way up there. But their defense was 26th in the league in run defense efficiency. I don't think I realized that their defense was that porous.
And maybe it is, and I'm making excuses for him, but sometimes it's hard to gauge a true stat like that on a defense when you're up 21-0 all the time. Well, your defense is probably looking at things that you're not used to seeing and so forth and so on. So I think they got a pretty decent team on both sides of the ball out there. And
They also lost Chase Young off their defensive line, so that obviously doesn't help their.
It does not.
Their
Where is
running
he now? Because he was at
defense.
Washington and got traded to the Niners, and now where is he?
That's a good question.
He's not a Brown.
He is a Saint.
Saint.
All
I
right.
hate this.
Well, we'll see him a couple of times this year.
Chase
then.
Young, Cam Jordan.
Like everybody does.
Yeah. All right. So, yeah, McCaffrey, I mean, still hadn't heard much from him since his calf injury, so we don't know where he is or what's going on. I know Bill Sterrett's out there thinking, rest, rest, rest.
Well, and there's just so many lies this time of year, especially in pro football. So, with only 3 games and that extra game being added to the regular season, I think you just have a lot of coaches who are like, I'm just not going to put my star out here and take the chance.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people catching slack, Falcons catching slack for losing 31-0 for the Jaguars, but they didn't play anybody. They didn't play anybody.
And the Jags played everybody.
Yeah. Yeah.
The Jags played their first string team, their second string team. We had nobody. So
Evan made quite a catch, too. Evan Ingram made a really good catch. Okay, and the 4th team on the list is the Seattle Seahawks. They, too, were in bottom third of the defense, 25th in points allowed, and 31st in third down conversions. So all they've got Geno Smith and into Njoku. Is that who's his? Well, they got DK Metcalf.
DK.
Yeah.
No, Njoku's still with the Browns.
That's correct.
Is he?
Yes. They have.
No,
they have
Njoku Smith, the wide receiver from
oh,
Ohio State.
Yeah. They have.
Not
they have
Njoku.
I was thinking the tight end for the Browns.
Yeah.
They have Kenneth Walker in the backfield.
Yeah.
He ran
Charbonnet?
very well. Yes.
Smith Charbonnet?
Smith Najigba.
That's
Smith
the one.
Najigba.
Najigba, yeah.
And then Tyler Lockett, they still have him. But they haven't added a lot of excitement on that team in a while. That's been kind of a stagnant looking offense, and it's a decent offense. People think Walker's pretty good. People think Metcalf's pretty good, but it's not doing a lot for him. It'll be interesting to see what Geno's able to do this year, because remember, a couple years ago, Geno came out of nowhere and really, kind of took the league by storm, proving that you could sit on the you could hang out in the Jets locker room for 5 or 6 years and then still succeed somewhere else in the league. But
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah. It's I don't think it's a great division. I don't think it's a bad division, but pretty much middle of the road. Adam may be right. San Francisco is probably going to win the division, but I think they are going to have some competition. But let's start at the bottom. Who's number 4? Who do you think, Blake?
Who's the worst team in that division?
I don't know, man. I think I'm gonna have to go to the Seahawks.
I'm going with the Sea Chickens as well.
I'm going with the Seabirds as well.
I'm going with the Cardinals. I don't like. They weren't good last year.
No.
Kyler Murray does have some weapons, but I think Kyler had one really good year, and he's kind of been mediocre since.
I hope Smith throws every pass to Metcalf for a touchdown, and they score 40 points a game.
Spoken like a man who plays fantasy baseball.
Exactly.
Or football.
Or football, yeah. How about number 3, Robert?
I'm going with the Cardinals. It's real close for the Rams and the Cardinals, but I have to give a little bit of the tiebreaker is you have veterans who've won a Super Bowl in the last few years, so you get a little bit of a nod over a bunch of young guys running around.
Yeah, but I think a lot of those veterans are gone, so I'm going to go with the Rams in 3rd place. Blake?
Well, going off of last year's predictions, Los Angeles Rams were in 3rd place, so I think I'm going to have to go with you on that one, too.
All right.
I'm going to go with the Sea Chickens in 3rd.
Sea Chickens in 3rd. All right, 2nd place, I got the Arizona Cardinals. I think they're an up-and-coming team. If Murray stays healthy, and he throws to Harrison, and Connor runs the football, and McBride catches the way he did last year.
So if everybody runs and catches and
scores and stops the other team,
they'll be at least the second best.
If you score more points than the other team, you win the game.
That's how you do it.
People don't understand how simple sports are when you break it down to
just
that level.
score more points. It's not hard.
I'm going with the Rams on this one, and it could, like I said, I could have flip-flopped 2 and 3. Rams just. I think Kyron Williams has an opportunity to rush for 1,600 yards or something stupid along those lines.
Did you get him?
I did. So yeah, maybe my thought process is a little warped as well. But I don't know that both those wide receivers will make it through. I don't know. I just have a feeling that this is going to become a one-horse team again, as far as somebody just taking in all of Stafford's targets. But we'll see how it works out.
I'll say number 2, Blake.
I think I'm going to have to say the 49ers.
Wow. All right.
I'll take a gamble.
All right. And Adam?
I'm going to say the Rams. Puka Nacua, Cooper Kupp, the fantastic wide receiver room. They've got some good tight ends. Obviously, Blake Corum, Kyron Williams in the backfield. I think they run the ball very well this year. I think they kind of take the pressure off Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. I think the Rams are the second best team in the division.
All right, so that means you had the 49ers
Yes,
at first.
obviously.
I had the 49ers first. Robert has the 49ers at first. And Blake has the Los Angeles Rams at first. No, you have the
Cardinals.
Arizona Cardinals at first.
Bam.
There you go. Going out on a limb. Not a
But,
bad.
yeah.
If you had to take a shot.
But San Francisco is one of those weird teams. You know, on paper, you look at them and you go, they've got too much everything. But, man, they're not the healthiest group of guys who have ever walked down the road. So it would only take a little bit, and all of a sudden, you know, this whole offense could come off the rails rather quickly.
Could be a lot like the Philadelphia Eagles from last year, where they look fantastic on paper and they win 10 of their first 11 and then they never get to 12, right?
But even so, you know, San Francisco's got a better tight end than them. They've got a better, well, you know, and A.J. Brown and Debo are kind of a good
Goddard's
comparison.
not a bad tight end.
No, he's not. But I think you know, if Ayuk leaves or doesn't play and maybe Debo picks up an ankle injury and is out a couple weeks, I think then you kind of start looking around at, you know, who's the next guy up for San Fran.
Well, just remember this team that we've basically labeled a juggernaut. If you go back a season and a half, wasn't looking so good until they signed CMC right at that trade deadline.
With the Panthers,
I was like,
yeah.
wow, that's a great team. You know, they added the best running back in the league.
All right. Well, there we go. That's our picks for the NFC West. And as I said, next week we'll be talking about the Dirty Birds and the Tampa Bay Bucks and the Saints and the Panthers.
Should we let Larry talk when it comes time for the Saints? Should we
No.
give him an opinion on the
Larry doesn't get an opinion.
No opinions for
If
you.
Larry wants an opinion, we'll give it to him.
The opinion Nazi.
All right. So let's get on with our round 3 commercials here.
There are a lot of places to get your oil changed in the Kennesaw area, but if you're looking for a personal experience, then stop in at Castrol Kennesaw Express Loop or Lost Mountain Express Loop. We'll always do our best to get you in and out quickly and safely without a whole lot of fuss. We're a true owner-operated business where you'll find Brian under the hood of a car or in one of the shops. We offer experienced, knowledgeable technicians and the latest computer software to help you maintain your new car warranty and keep your pride and joy running for the next 100,000 miles. We proudly offer Castrol products.
Hey, ATI just told me I was number 1. He's never done that on set before. All right, our next one. How about the Joshua Smith commercial? Joshua Smith and his wife Tammy are both graduates of Kennesaw State College. He's been practicing law for 24 years, specializing in sports and entertainment law while continuing in criminal defense, civil litigation, juvenile, and personal injury law. And he's ready to represent you all the way from your small town to the Supreme Court and any appellate court in between. With all the new rules regarding NIL and cash payments to athletes, they are placing a new emphasis on Kennesaw State University student athletics to help our student athletes better navigate some of the bigger issues that have tripped up so many. Give them a call tomorrow at 706-217-2095.
And thank you, Josh, for being a sponsor. And Brian, when you come up from under the car of the hood, we thank you, too, for being a sponsor of Three Guys Who
I
Love
think I
Sports.
just lost my job.
Oh, you did fine, Adam. All right, so we're going to talk about a sport we haven't talked about in quite some time now. The final week of golf for the 2024 season, and it's here in Atlanta. It's the FedEx Cup Championship. And do you know what they've done to the course?
Dug a hole in it and put a new lake in there?
They changed a lot about the course. It is now a par 71 instead of a par 70. I read Victor Hovland's notes today. He said we played the course. He said it looked like a totally different course than anything he'd seen.
Yes, I talked to the head of the Tour Championship Committee, over at East Lake on Sunday. And we talked about, they lengthened the 14th hole. They turned it from a par 4 into a par 5. They moved the green of the 8th hole up 40 yards to make it more drivable. They made some major changes to 9, so it is almost an entirily different golf course than it was a year ago.
So 9, which used to be 18, the par 3, they moved it down by the lake, so the water will be in play on that par 3.
Yes.
But they only lengthened it like 100 yards, but it's on that one hole, and turned it into a par 5 from a 4. I'm trying to remember which hole 14 is, because I always get the front side and the back side.
It's the one right before 15.
Oh, yeah, that's the one.
The one after 13.
Yeah.
That one too.
So 10 is 11.
10's the one before
13,
2 before 12.
14. Which one's the par 3?
10's the one after 9, right?
Par 3 that goes over the lake is 14.
No, 14 was a par 4 last year.
Okay, so it must be 13.
Yes, and then 14 is the one after 13, and the one after 14 is 15.
I think that's the way it works. Yeah. I'm just trying to remember, because I walked the course before. It's a beautiful course. It's probably the best patron course there is that I've been to, even better than Augusta National in terms of being up close to the sponsors and to the players. I mean, I literally was saying from here to you, from VJ Singh one time putting on the green. They let you right up on the greens. It was crazy.
You've been to the Augusta Nationals?
Yeah.
That's incredible.
He goes
I've always
every
wanted
year.
to go.
I go every year. Yeah, it's true.
You're a lucky man. I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
But East Lake's just as beautiful. I mean, it's not as beautiful, but it's a great venue for patrons. So who do we got?
For golfer of the year or the FedEx Cup?
Well, it's a toss-up right now, I think, between Schauffele and...
it's not a toss-up.
It's really not a toss-up.
You think it's Schauffele?
For what's already happened, with the coup de grace tiebreaker being, I got arrested too. I mean, he's clearly had a better season than everybody.
I love Xander Schauffele. Xander Schauffele's great, but he's won 2 majors this year. They were great. He won the British Open and the U.S. Open.
So many people have never won one, and Xander's very happy that you're giving him credit.
Yeah,
for
he won.
winning those.
He won 2 in the same year, but Scotty's won 7 tournaments this year. He won the most important of all the majors, and he won the gold medal. So
yeah. I think if Schauffele wins the FedEx, it's going to be a toss-up. If anybody else other than Schauffele wins, I believe Scheffler was the golfer of the year. But I think it'll be a lot closer if Xander wins the FedEx.
You're absolutely correct, Chuck. I personally believe that they should announce the winner of the season before this tournament because one of them has clearly had a better season, gold medals, all the tournament wins and everything else. I don't think Scheffler will win this week. So, I don't think that will happen. And, but in no way, shape, or form do I think that doesn't mean he's not the best player this year.
But that brings into question the legitimacy of the FedEx Cup, right? Because, Scotty has been the best player all year, and there's a chance he doesn't win the FedEx Cup. And he should win the FedEx Cup. He has 7 wins this season. He won the Masters. He won a gold medal. But Keegan Bradley was 50th. He came in on the number last week in Colorado
and won the BMW.
He won the BMW, and now he's 4th in points.
Right, he's hot all of a sudden, and I don't care what year you'd like to talk about a specific golfer. Golf, there's always stretches where somebody starts doing something and, man, they're looking really good from April to June or from June and July, So Scotty has had an incredible year, but most of it outside of the medal was a little while ago. He's not in the middle of a heater, if you will. So I just don't think he does it this week. I don't know really who does, but
well, he's got the 2-shot lead over everybody. He's got 2 shots over Xander, isn't that right?
Yes.
And then 4 over
over
Matsuyama.
Keegan Bradley.
Over Keegan Bradley, who is the Ryder
3
Cup
over
captain.
Matsuyama.
Ryder Cup captain. And Matsuyama's played well lately. He won 2 weeks ago, didn't he?
He did. He won at the
first round of the FedEx.
It was in
playoffs.
Memphis.
Yeah, St. Jude's.
Yeah.
Walking in Memphis.
Yeah, good song. Yeah. So, are you a golf fan at all?
I am.
All right. So,
Yeah.
who do you got in the FedEx Cup?
I'll be honest. I don't even know who's playing. I haven't kept up with it at all.
Well,
I'll be completely
you know
honest.
Scheffler is. You know Xander is. There's only 30 golfers. Read them off, Robert.
Oh, well, let's look here. I'm just looking at the guy in 5th place, Aberg.
Ludwig
Ludwig
Oberg.
I love me a good
Oberg.
I love me a good Scandinavian to come through. I think since it didn't happen this year, I'm going to say next year will be the year of the Scandinavian. How about
Oberg?
that? Well, no, not just him. What's the other guy who's really good?
Hovland?
Hovland. Yeah, I think Hovland and Aberg, take care of business. So the final group is Scheffler and Schauffele. Second group is from the back, Matsuyama and Bradley, Aberg and McIlroy, Morikawa and Clark, Burns and Cantlay. But as you guys have already pointed out, each next position is another stroke. So you might love the way Sam Burns has played this year, which he's
he
had a
started
great
10
year.
strokes back.
He's 9 strokes back as the greatest player in the world. That's probably not going to happen.
I don't think he's 9 back. I think he's 5 back.
Is that what they
Sam
top it out
Burns?
at?
Yes,
no,
there
some
is
people
a
are 10 back.
there are people 10 back, but that's the people that's like Chris Kirk, Tom Hoagie, Aaron Rye, Christian Bezadenhut, and Justin Thomas down at the bottom. They're staggered. Everybody's within 10 shots.
Right.
Justin
Well,
was the last one in, wasn't he?
Yes.
he's in 9th place. I don't know how many strokes he's back, but it's going to take a heck of a weekend to come back. And because you're not just a few behind that one guy, you're behind all the other guys in front of you. So
Sam
very
Burns
difficult.
is 6 shots back.
Six shots. That's where Rory is too, right? At 4 under. They start at 4 under.
I would hope.
Yes, Rory,
It's better
Burns,
than that.
Cantlay, Morikawa, and Wyndham Clark are 4 under.
Okay. So yeah, that's a tough way to come back to start 6 strokes back. I don't know if I like the way the playoffs laid out.
No, I don't. I've never liked NASCAR or golf's.
Staggering system.
Yeah, I understand you're trying to make it interesting and have me, biting my nails, but this isn't it. Not the way.
All right, Adam, you want to make a pick?
I will make a pick. I'm going to pick the man who lost his caddy 2 weeks ago in Memphis.
But he's back now.
He is back. I think he's going
If
to play
you-
well.
If you park your caddy in the wrong place in Memphis, it will disappear. So
His caddy got parked in London.
okay, well,
He got his passport stolen.
talking
Yes.
about parking in Memphis right now.
I'm picking Hideki Matsuyama.
Not a bad pick.
No,
Not a pick.
It's not a bad pick at all.
He's a couple strokes back. No, he's 3
He's
strokes.
3.
Okay. If Scotty didn't play that great last week at BMW, but he just seems to get up when he needs to. I'm going to take Scheffler. That's the easy pick, but that's who I'm going to take.
I'll take Schauffele just to make it. I don't know that anybody else. There's too many strokes. There's too many strokes for everybody else to make up. Plus, it'll make it interesting for that final vote.
All right, take a stab, Blake.
Scheffler.
Scheffler. All right. So we got 2 Schefflers, a Schauffele, 2 Schefflers, a Schauffele, and a Matsuyama.
Hold the mayo.
I really like Hideki. I wish he'd learn to speak English. I'd love to hear him speaking after tournaments, but I guess that's not going to happen anytime soon.
Well, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that he speaks way better English than we speak Japanese.
Oh, there's no doubt about that.
But, a lot of times, even when players,
Konnichiwa.
well, there you go. You got at least one word down. Karaoke.
Open hand.
That's it.
Karaoke. Karate. Open microphone is karaoke.
I good surgeon.
No,
Let's go back and
that's
watch Austin
racist. That's
Powers.
different.
That's The Office.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I mean, because Scotty won the Masters.
Yep.
Yes.
So, I mean, you got to go with him. I mean, we're talking about one of the biggest golf tournaments in the world.
The most important tournament of the
most
year.
important.
Important tournament of the year.
In
yeah.
my mind, yeah, absolutely. All right. So, golf is over. We'll talk about it a little bit next week as they wrap it up. And it's supposed to be very warm this weekend. I think by next week we're supposed to be back down in the 70s, but through Labor Day it's supposed to be in the 90s again after a beautiful week last week, and now it's hot again. I don't like it.
It's Georgia.
I don't like the back
It's
and forth.
August.
Yeah.
Any of you
4 seasons in one day.
pedal pushers thought that this was going to be a cool summer. We haven't even hit September.
September's going to be nice.
I hope so.
Just a thought. All right, let's get to our first American Axis picks of the year after we do our commercial.
Tired of going to the same old places for the same old thing? American Axis has your solution. Whether you're looking for something new to do before or after the game, the most memorable workouting ever, or just wanting to take something else off your bucket list, American Axis has 3.5 Atlanta locations in Marietta, Tucker, downtown at the Works, and the uber cool new mobile axe experience that can be set up wherever you need. Keep an eye out for them coming to events and festivals near you, including some Falcons games. Look us up at American Axis or give us a call at 678-763-3635 to schedule your next adventure.
And thank you, Dan Fisher, for being sponsors of the Owls Who Love Sports coming up at 7 o'clock, and the Three Guys Who Love Sports right now at 5 o'clock at Miller's Ale House. We're coming to our final segment. It is time to start making our picks. We all made one pick last year. I just want to quit right now because everybody else is 0-1 and I'm 1-0.
For the record, I would have picked Montana State over New Mexico State, so I'd be 1-1.
And technically, and I'm not trying to get
I would
too
have
much
two. We've
credit.
been 2-0.
I'm not trying to get too much credit out of this, but I wasn't going to pick Georgia Tech because I'm trying not to jinx them. So I'm just saying.
Sure you are.
I won't pick them the rest of the year.
Yeah, there you go. But some big games coming up in week one.
Fun ones.
Fun ones. Yeah, it should be a fun weekend. Starting tomorrow night, there's some other games. Steve, I know you're watching. I know your Racers go to, where did I say they go? Missouri. They play at Missouri
Murray
tomorrow
State
night.
traveling out to
Murray
Mizzou.
State going to Mizzou. So I don't know if you're going to the game or not, but I know you might. That's just who you are.
That's how he rolls.
He's a racer. There's no doubt about it. But our first game of the year is Ian, just for you. We got the Penn State Nittany Lions going to Morgantown to take on West Virginia, minus 8.5. Robert, who you got?
Man, what a game. You know, these guys, for being worlds apart in conferences nowadays, these are, you know, I know Pitt and West Virginia have the backyard brawl, but this isn't far away from it. This is a fun game. Both teams are on the outside looking in a little bit as far as, you know, can I be one of the also-rans in my conference? This one's in Morgantown?
I think it's in Morgantown.
Yes. Penn State at West Virginia.
I'm going Virginia then.
Oh, yeah? Taking the points?
Taking the points. That's why. If it was anything else, I probably wouldn't take it.
Adam, how about you?
Well, Penn State lost a lot on defense. They lost Kalen King. They lost Chop Robinson. It'll be interesting to see how they do. I think they also lost a running back. They've got several back there, so they are able to reload. Drew Aller, the quarterback. I've heard that West Virginia could be good this year. I've heard some rumors they are a dark horse to win the Big 12. Of course, anybody's a dark horse to win the Big 12. They don't have an alpha team, but
Kansas.
West Virginia has one of my favorite chants about Pitt. I can't say it on air, but I'm gonna go Penn State.
Yes, I know that chant. There's usually Sweet Caroline being sang.
There is Sweet Caroline being sang.
They do not sing those lyrics though.
All right, Blake, how about you?
Honestly, I'm gonna go with him as well. Penn State. I'm always gonna root for the underdog.
Well, you know, Penn State is
Penn State's favored.
their favorite. Penn State is they're always the perennial third or fourth team in the Big Ten.
They've always been the third place
but
team.
do they drop one now because of Oregon or drop two because of USC? They've got to fight for that Now they've got a shot at a playoff if they're still 3.
If they're 3, they are in every year. But like you said, that we always call them the third best team, but we all know that there's a big drop off between 2 and 3. So it's big for them.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go with Blake, and with Adam, I'm going to take Penn State and lay the 8.5.
And I won't be surprised if it's what I'm looking at is a 28-24 game, something along those games. I think Penn State will probably win. It just won't be by that many.
I'm with you. The other game is Miami. Cam Ward going up to, I think it's in Gainesville. Is it?
It is. It is in Gainesville.
All right, so Miami, that's probably why they're only favored by 2.5 over the Gators of Florida. I'm not a big Miami fan. I'm going to go with the Gators and take the points. Blake?
What do you think?
I think I'm right there with you. Gators.
2 Gators.
Yeah. If the stadium collapsed on these 2
Gatorade.
fan bases, I'd buy a round for everybody. But that's a different story. I'm taking Florida. Miami, you can tell me Miami's supposed to be something, and they haven't been, and they haven't been, and they haven't been. Even when Florida is bad, as I like to say, they look great getting off the bus. They're still big, they're fast, they're strong. I'll take the Gators at home.
I have put a lot of thought into this game. Cam Ward, the starting quarterback for Miami, I like him. He's a good quarterback, transfer from Washington State last year. On the Florida side, they've got Billy Napier, Graham Mertz in the backfield taking snaps.
Second year from Wisconsin.
Yes, former Badger. But Florida's going to be without starting running back Montrell Johnson. And I think that plays a big factor into this game. Mario Cristobal hasn't had a great tenure at Miami, but I'm going the Canes.
All right. 3 Gators and a cane. Number 3, Texas A&M laying 3, and I think that's in College Station, isn't it?
It is.
Against Notre Dame. So basically, this is a pick 'em, getting 3 points for the home field advantage. I think I'm going to go with the Irish.
I don't know why I want to go with the Irish. I mean, I own a lot of Irish stuff because I was a fan as a young man, but I think it's just because Texas A&M is so underwhelming every time. They're so good. Man, they have more money. They still never produce.
$30 million
They still never
money.
produce. So until they start producing, I'll go with Touchdown Jesus, even though he's on the road.
Did they ever take Touchdown Jesus on the road?
They do not. They can't take him on the road.
Jesus is everywhere, though.
He is.
He is.
All right, Adam, who do you got?
This is a really interesting matchup to me. Connor Wegman is the starting quarterback for Texas A&M, but the interesting part is Notre Dame's starting quarterback is Riley Leonard, who was the starting quarterback at Duke last year, and the Texas A&M head coach is Mike Elko, who was the head coach at Duke last year.
Yeah.
So it's a matchup between former head coach and former starting quarterback, and Mike Elko said this week that Riley Leonard probably has the advantage on him because he's seen the defense, he knows the defense. But Texas A&M just has such a great defensive line. Nick Scorton is anchoring the edge. Connor Wegman, of course, the quarterback. I'm going to take Texas A&M. I think Texas A&M and the Kyle Field home advantage outlast Notre Dame.
The 12th man.
Yes.
Isn't that where Haynes King came from, Texas A&M?
Yes, he was at Texas A&M. He took over the year after Kellen Mond.
There you go.
And let me just throw something else based on ATI's keen insight into this game. I will always say that the coach has the upper hand in that particular situation because as he's standing on the sideline and he's watching games, he knows what his guy doesn't do well. And that he gauges everything based on what my guy doesn't do well. So when he's going against him, he knows what he doesn't do well. So it's going to be interesting.
All right. Blake, how about you? The Irish?
I think I'm going to say Notre Dame as well. I'm right there with you, Rob. I mean, we hear these big-name teams, but they always just underperform. So I think I'm going to have to go with Notre Dame on this one.
All right. And I've been doing this wrong. I've been picking the winner instead of the loser. I'm
Well,
out of practice.
But you can chop the loser if you wanted to. You can switch it
Yeah.
up this year, considering that your picks weren't so good last year.
I'd like to have to go back and look at that.
Well, you can, but
There's
you're
Will the
you're
Thrill.
0 for the first two. Woo woo!
I'm 1 for the first. Oh, I'm 1-0, baby.
No,
All right.
you're 1-0 in leading this year.
I'm
but-
1-0,
but-
baby.
But you lost the first 2
Is there
years
an
of
echo in
picks.
here? Oh, okay.
So I'm just trying to get you to.
We're going to keep a better record this year. Larry, that's on you, buddy. All right?
Yeah, Larry's smiling just like you did last year when you told him this. Hey, Larry, you got to keep better track. Yeah.
All right, here we go.
I've got records of them all. It's a matter of looking at them.
Now, I understand that too.
You bring those next week, Larry. We're going to take a look at them. All right, next week.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's your bobblehead?
Yeah, I got my Outcast bobblehead just got delivered.
Hey,
This
you
is
know, that
one
was-
of the most sought after things in Atlanta Braves history.
I think Will brought that to make it part of the raffle package at Arioki.
I'm pretty sure he did not.
Oh, okay. All right. All right, so let's get to our last game of the week, and it's the Dogs.
We have
two more.
two games.
Oh, that's right. I'm
LSU.
sorry. I forgot LSU laying 4.5, and that's in Baton Rouge, isn't it?
That is in Vegas.
Oh, it's in Vegas.
Better.
Oh, even better. Neutral field.
And you know what I like about this, out of all these other matchups, I don't see any of these other matchups happening in December. This one you can see happening in December. You know, USC travels to Death Valley, or Death Valley travels out to the coast. That opening round game. This is going to be a fun one. With it being in Vegas, little familiarity. Everything about this game helps USC, but I will take LSU.
I think LSU has a better opportunity to make the playoffs in Southern Cal. I think Lincoln Riley will be exposed this year. I just do not think that USC will survive
Rutgers,
the better teams
Illinois,
of the Big Ten.
that road trip to Iowa.
Yeah. Well, Iowa, according to Adams, is going to be great.
Road
Man,
trip to Iowa is tough. Iowa's going to be great.
All right, Blake, who you got? Southern Cal or LSU?
LSU. I mean, we can just look at the record. I mean, it kind of speaks for itself. Gators, LSU, Georgia State, LSU, Texas A&M, LSU, Wisconsin, LSU.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a good record. I don't see any reason why they won't beat USC too.
They're going to take them down. Adam, what do you think?
I think that I think that this is a tough game. I don't like either of these teams. I think they're both overrated. Garrett Nussmeier, the starting quarterback for LSU. LSU starts 2 freshman cornerbacks. I think Miller Moss and this USC offense has some fantastic receivers. I think USC picks them off.
Do you think those quarterbacks are out on the field like texting people like, "Oh my God,
they
I'm not
might
even
be.
used to playing"?
They might be.
high-profile
We
college
saw Miller Moss in the Holiday Bowl. He performed fantastic.
Did you see him in the Holiday Bowl?
I remember Miller Moss in the Holiday Bowl, and I remember thinking to myself, I should call Adam and tell him how wonderful he's performing. And I thought, Adam already knows that. Adam is very astute. I do not need to tell Adam this.
Adam already knows about
huge.
Miller Moss. USC has fantastic receivers. They've got one that's like 6'5", big hands. He's going to catch a lot of footballs. I'm going USC.
Is he the one?
They have other receivers, but that's their main
Oh, big
receiver.
hands. I know you're the one. It's
All
okay.
right, so let's move on to the big game here in
Wait,
the
Robert,
state of Georgia.
who did you pick? Larry
took
doesn't.
LSU.
Okay.
I took down boy.
Yeah. All right, so last pick of the day, the Dogs and the Tigers.
So, it's so funny to know that FSU has lost 2 straight games to the state of Georgia. And when you looked at their chances in the ACC going forward, you kind of pencil in Clemson and FSU at the top. What are the chances that the 2 Georgia teams just knock out the whole top half of the ACC? Like, yeah, that is garbage. That is a fodder region. I'm going Dogs. Big and healthy.
Bigger than 12.5?
Yeah, way bigger. I'd probably be willing to give 17.
Well, I read some things today about Georgia might be a little down at running back with some injuries, and they might keep ATN out. And Buck Bellew said that he's a little concerned about their defensive line. He said he's a little concerned. If I had to make a call, I got to worry a little bit about our defensive line. I don't know.
But, and
That's
he
a
has-
fantastic Buck impression.
He has a great reason to not be certain because most of those guys now play in the NFL.
Yeah.
So when you're constantly watching your guys leave, you just don't know how good that pantry is. But I think the cupboard is good, and although you might not know the names, I think they'll be there and ready.
I'm going to take the Tigers in the point. So I'm going to give the axe to Georgia.
Wow.
Man, that was hardcore.
Yeah. All right, Blake.
All right, now this one gets into a little bit of personal feelings for me. All right, Larry, if you have a boo on that soundboard, get it queued up because I'm a Gamecocks fan.
We don't have
Here,
one.
don't worry. Boo. I'll do it every time.
Yeah, no, I mean my mom went to college there, so I've always been a Gamecocks fan, and personal feelings come up with this.
You hate both of
Well,
these
the
teams.
Gamecocks hate
Clemson and
too.
USC is one of the biggest rivalries in college football. And then I
you're
also
from
can't
Columbia.
stand UGA. So
Correct.
it's a tough one. But given the rivalry between USC and Clemson, I think I'm going to have to go UGA, as much as it hurts me to my soul.
But
All right,
once
Adam.
again, that Clemson, you can't go on record being a
Gamecocks
Gamecock
fan and say Clemson.
Yeah.
As much as it hurts to
That'd be
say.
bad.
All right,
That's
Adam,
just
wrap
a
us up,
lose-lose.
buddy.
Cade Klubnik versus Carson Beck. This could be a great game. The Clemson offense is good, but Dabo Sweeney has turned into old man yelling at clouds about the transfer portal. That's going to cost
Get off
Clemson.
my yard!
I think.
Oh,
I
hey,
think.
you get off of my cloud.
I think Clemson wins the ACC, but I don't think they win this game. As much as it pains me to say, I'm taking UGA.
You
And just
laying the
be-
points?
Yeah.
And just because you went out on that little rant with a prediction, how many losses does that ACC champion Clemson have?
Two.
Two lost team?
2.
Georgia and Georgia Tech.
Georgia and Georgia Tech.
Pow, baby.
Bam.
No,
All right.
I'm gonna go Georgia and Miami.
All right.
Yeah, I
All
know.
right. Well, we're a little over time, but guys, thanks for coming out. Blake, thanks for joining us
Yeah,
today.
of course. Thanks
Robert?
for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
You bet.
Absolutely, sir.
Guys, don't forget, hey, if you're watching us on Facebook or on YouTube, like us, subscribe, and get on the Three Guys Who Love Sports train. Right, Will?
I got
right.
one more thing to say, if that's all right.
Go ahead.
Just want to say Bojangles has the new tailgate package for UGA. So if you're a UGA fan, feel free to come out and get the tailgate package.
And
the
you,
box,
and you
some
didn't
chicken
hear
things.
that at Miller's Ale House.
There we go. You did not hear that here.
All right. So, guys, don't forget, know your numbers, cover your ass, get your prostate checked. We'll see you next week right here on Three Guys Who Love. Oh, and Ian King will be with us next week to report on his trip to Dublin and the Georgia Tech win.
There you go.
See you then. Woo. Goes by a lot quicker than you think.